Okay, challenge number 63. So this time we have another data passing. What we have is some kind of weekly, monthly report from the company. We try to pass out information from the list. So the input file is kind of very typical. You have some kind of header rows, probably from the Excel file sheet, your report. Then you have some kind of your regular data field. So we can see we have Uh, the dates. Oh, is the dates the same period? No, it's not. Oh yeah, okay. So what we have is we'll probably have like a weekly data. Then you have total column again, another weekly total column. So we're gonna do some probably column pivoting. Now we're gonna assume pretty much if it's the same template, the top few rows seems usually is not needed. Regarding the final answer, it's pretty good. So we're gonna need looking for five columns of data. So you can some kind of ID column, the week, okay. So the week is the columns. DMA ID probably is the row label in the first column. So this row label is fixed. Column will definitely do something. The data itself, the total technically you don't need to do yourself because we could just use the inside and outside to create to calculate the total column. If you do want it, you could pivot the things if needed. We're gonna have a look along the process. We'll see which way is the probably the easiest, most robust. First thing, we're gonna probably sample. Let's skip the top few rows. This is of course based on assumptions. It's always going to be fixed in such sense. So we're gonna skip the first eight. Let's see. Because row number 9 is the date field. We're gonna do something about it. Skip the first eight. Uh, then we're gonna see how we handle the rest. And the rest column, column wise they're okay. It's kind of repeating. Let's do math. We have 11 columns minus the leading column. You get only 10 columns left. You're supposed to have three columns for each week. So we're missing some kind of columns. Are we? So we have 11s, we have 18s. Oh, I'm curious. Are we missing columns? Let's see. So in that case, we're probably expecting some null values here. Let's actually think about it. So the last column we're missing, we're probably missing the 18th of April, the outside point of sales. Let's check one of the ID to see what the value for that is. For this ID, okay, yeah, I think you have a missing field. They probably will pad out any null value to be zero instead. Okay. It's also good to do a sense check to the dimension what you have to start with, and does that, particularly if you're repeating number of rows or repeating number of columns, do they add up? So let's think, what's the best way to handle this guy? Let's just pivot everything. Let's see how it goes. When in doubt, just pivot. So we're gonna go for white too long. Do we need the first one? I think we're gonna keep the first column because that's like an ID column. They look okay. Because on the top, they're padding out row label. Da, da, da. I think we can definitely do something about this. Because the remaining rows, they are basically your data. Those are okay. You have those row labels that behave headers. We can always easy to pivot back up. So that's not too bad. Then on the top, because we have the F columns, so they indicate is the dates field. So I'm just thinking also what's the best way to pivot the rows. It's always the those vertical column header that's annoying. We can do multi-row formula. We can pad out, say, the first three. You look in 2 rows back. If it's if it's now looking back, if it's now looking 2 rows back. Da, 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 da. What's the last column? Total point of sales. So the one I'm looking at, let's probably change that to red. Red. Because we can use F1 column as an indicator. If it's now passed out, you can actually do multi-row, handle those states only. Then probably you can, yeah, you can join back on the F name columns. That will link up everything. Then the row labels on their own, you can treat as column header. So you basically treat the current data as a three batch. The very top rows, the date field, the middle batch, the header rows, the bottom batch, the rest of the data. So that's doable. Use the two filters to separate things out. At the moment, I'm feeling very greedy. I feel like I can probably just use a single multi-row to handle this stuff because FF1 is now check your current condition. Yeah, it's not the best practice. Since we're doing demos here, let's actually show a bit easier, more easier to maintain. F1 is now. So F now is that's top part. Then we'll do a second for the not now. We want to F1 equals, yeah. Because we have F1 to F10, those default column kind of like names, it's easier to link everybody back up. Okay, those guys. So what's the best way to do? Let's do a multi-row on those guys. Same thing. That's in that you. I'm looking at assumption is you're also gonna probably have 3 columns to be output. You may even have a yearly report that you have 3 columns for 52 weeks, like 156 columns. You want to make thing. It looks good. So we just update our value column. Do we need to look for 2 rows back? I think we'll do +1 is suffice. So either you start with null value, you look in row one. Assuming if you start now, we go back up. If we start is total, we contains total, just drop the total. That probably handles the weak numbers. Yeah, should be okay. Let's give that a try. If current value is now, is there I want to look back 1 row. Because we have a very good pattern at the moment, so this should satisfy. But if you do have a data that has like sometimes one missing a null value or sometimes you have two, you probably need to apply a different logics. Else if we do say contains, the current row contains the word total, then we're gonna basically replace the word total, replace the current value. So we need a space, just make sure you don't have a trailing white spaces. Total, probably that's finished. And what do you want to replace? Replace with a blank. Else you probably just have a regular stuff, then just return my current value for me. And if, let's see. So group batch up, that's fine. What do you want to use a date field? Is that a date column? Yeah, they changed it to a date. So it was 3 10 17. 3 10 17. So they used the finishing week. That's fine. We can handle the date. Yeah, let's use easy tools. My intention is my favorite formula tool. We can always do the regex to get the second part out. Once you get the second part of string, you can do a data pass on it. I think it's probably better practice to show people with the different ways to do things. With Dash, we separate by Dash. We have uh, two columns. You get two columns. We care about is the second column, so we can do a data format. So let's just use basic tools to do things. Value two, what do you have? We have a month, day, year. Month is a spelling, so month, day, comma, year. To date them out. That's pretty good. So we're getting the column we want. We're going to use later to the join. The header rows, same thing. If it's now, we are looking at the column header total point cells. We'll just copy here. So if is now on the value column, that means this should be the total. Else, return me the value column. Should be good. That handle the missing cells in now. The date field, there should be fine. Everybody has the name, the F columns. That means I can probably just do a regular multi-join to link all three up. Multi-join, link one up, link two up, three up. So let's reorder our expression as well. We're gonna link on the field called for the data source one. It's the name column. That's everybody's common. So we want is the ID column first. What's the best way? Name column will be the header, so we don't need any repeat name columns. Dataset dataset 3 is our actual data. In the dataset 3, the true, we want F1 to be the first column. Let's move this guy up. What do we call it? DMA? DMA, then we have the weak column. Then data source 2, the value is the week of column. So that's column 2. Then we have a bunch of metric columns. So let's see. Yeah, for the first join, we already picked the data out. That's all we care. Everything else is can be dropped. For input 1, everything can be. Wait, that's not week 2. This is week off. That's the only thing from input 1. What's input 2? Input is the header column. So the header column, we need to go up. So name value pair. Input 2. Yeah, input 2 we only care as name value pair because that's later we're going to pivot as the headers. Input 3, we take care as on top of the DMA. Then we care about name value column. We don't care the name, we care the value. That's the actual data. So let's call that data. So let's look at output. Yeah, so far pretty good. The first two column, the DMA, the week off, they are doing the job. Then we just need to pivot to white. That's all we need. So it's a long to wide. The DMA, the week of one group. The header row should be the value. The value should be the data we want to concatenate. Uh, yeah, because at the moment pivoting is always to do with the strings. You need to do a separate column to filling in the missing numbers. They are good. Missing values. Ooh, let's see. Integers. So when you change the data type. I don't like the space they give. It's also annoying, the pivoting. It's annoying. But rather another like a dynamic rename to place there, I'm going to be a bit lazy. Uh, yes, it's only three column. We're gonna just copy paste everybody. If you have more than three columns, then I'll be tempted to think about separate ways to use dynamic rename to handle this change of names. Proposal, and we want to change our data type to. Is there any decimals in the data? Yeah, the final answer is integer int 16. 16. The last one is we're filling in the missing numbers. So we're going to select the number columns 1, 2, 3. We don't need to create a new column. I can't remember. We're converting integer. It's going to be blank or null value, I think. Let's look. Yeah, it's going to be null values. So what we have is if is null, and give me 0, else keep the value as it is. That should be the final answer. So we can see for rows for each data 1164, 1164, 5 columns. And that should be, is there, yeah, other than the column header, everything else should be robust enough to handle any width of the data. I think it should be okay. And yeah, so you can just constantly using the same thing for, as long as the final report format doesn't change to fixed 3 columns patch. As long as some people change some header, that will mess things up. Hopefully they don't. And this is challenge number 63. Thanks for watching.